Hey guys, this is Ben Knight doing an impression of Bruce Springsteen. You're listening to the Interrupting Podcast.
Red alert! All hands to battle stations.
Welcome to the Interrupting Podcast.
I know Kung Fu.
I feel like my skull's on fire, but I'm good.
And now, here are Blindy and the Beard.
The Interrupting Podcast is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Well, on today's show, are we just started? Did we just start the show?
Was that not the? I think we just talked for half an hour. That's not on the
You're
show.
not recording? No. Let's see.
We're always recording.
We've been in this movie series. This one's about directors, and we talked about directors last time a little bit. It was really hard to not get into the whole director thing because, the directors are like the quarterbacks of Hollywood.
Yeah,
People probably wouldn't agree, but, so it's like the actors and stuff. But, when somebody like super famous like directs a movie and it's terrible, then you kind of get disappointed with that person. So Rob Zombie, for instance, sorry. If you're listening, Rob, I'm sorry. You're a really cool dude, but yeah, your movies aren't great.
they're okay in certain respects. I mean, I
Can
think
a director make or break a movie? Like, that's kind of our big thing.
of course. If the director doesn't, I think the thing about the director is that the whole point of them is to make sure that they have the entire vision of the whole project, and their job is to, because movies aren't usually filmed from front to back, they have to keep that whole vision and know where each piece fits in. So you're filming the last scene first.
I never thought about that, and be able to communicate that to the cast.
I think it'd actually be more difficult to do something like Birdman, where it's filmed in almost one continuous shot.
Oh, in one shot.
Yeah, Birdman.
I
Never saw Birdman.
No, I will.
It's
not about Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. Is that?
I wish. No, but it's basically about an actor that he is going through the lead up to the play that they're putting on, and it's filmed in like one continuous shot almost. I think they only have like a few spots where they cut.
Movie about the movie that never came out. Is that one?
I don't think so.
Where like the actor was so bad that I think
I don't
Seth
think so.
Rogen and his crew went back and like did that movie. I don't.
Oh, you mean The Room? Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, was it called The Room?
Yeah, that was his movie, The Room, and then Seth Rogen and what's his face? I forget his name now.
Oh, they redid it.
Yeah, they did a movie about the movie.
Yeah.
And then they won like an Oscar for it.
That's how you know your movie's bad.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, I mean, I guess they can because, people have said that like guys like Michael Bay destroy movies because it's, what is it? He doesn't know the difference between a plot and special effects.
Yeah, pretty much. He just blows everything up and that's the movie.
So, but I mean, I don't know. Can they make or break a movie? Like, we talk about George Lucas again. Like, the actors were terrible in his movie, and they are like all of his movies. Yet Star Wars is what it is.
I think he got really lucky. I still think George Lucas got. I don't think. I'm not saying he doesn't have any technical skill at all, but I think a lot of what happened with Star Wars was he knew enough of the right people, and he got really lucky.
It could be that, I mean, a lot of the stuff he was doing was like new at the time. I mean,
Yeah.
Lightsabers and, stuff like that was like, well, we can get through the bad acting if, and honestly, like Vader was on point the whole thing. Like he wasn't a bad actor at all, but
they ruined the actor though.
Oh, Hayden Christensen. I saw something that he's
no, the actor. Well,
if he had taken his mask off, he would have been fine.
Yeah, but that's the crazy thing. So the actor that played Darth Vader was Darth Vader. He was the Darth Vader through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. And then they got what's his name to do the voice. Right.
Yeah, James Earl Jones.
So then his voice wasn't even the voice of. So then at the very end, after he had put in all this work into the first two movies and the entire third movie, when it comes to revealing his face, they get a different actor to do the face.
I did not know that.
Yep. I think David Prowse was the guy who actually played the body of Darth Vader.
Okay.
And then they got a completely different actor to do the face at the end of The Last Jedi. Not The Last Jedi. That's the new one that came out. Return of the Jedi.
Oh, interesting. I actually didn't know that. So there were 3 people that played Darth Vader, really.
Technically, yeah.
Huh. I wonder who played him in the prequels.
I don't believe so, because once Return of the Jedi came out, I don't think that was I don't think he was very happy about getting replaced.
His career didn't ruin the guy that showed his face, or
David Prowse. Maybe it didn't ruin his career, but it certainly. I think he probably would have been bigger had his face been the one that was revealed. I mean, it's hard to tell what would have happened if it had actually gone through, but I think it's a pretty sleazy thing to do, to have somebody work, through 3 movies, and then when it comes time for the scene of the glory or whatever of playing that character, somebody else to do it.
Sounds like Milli Vanilli. I guess. I mean, Lucas probably did get lucky, but the fact that he grossed so much money from the prequels, which everyone's like, oh, the prequels are terrible, and it's like, but you went and saw them. So, and many of us, I probably went and saw the first one 3 times. So
I think episode 1 was terrible.
It wasn't good.
The second and third ones, they're all right.
I at least which one? The second one. The third one was just really over the top whiny, I thought. Speaking of that, anyway, I'll finish my thought and then we'll move on. But the whole scene where the Jedi are running, ton of Jedi are running and fighting, that was pretty awesome. I like that.
And you get to see Yoda.
Oh yeah, dude, Yoda was that was amazing when that came out. It was hilarious, but it was amazing. I remember laughing. It was so ridiculous.
He looked like a little goblin jumping around.
It's why does he have the cane still? I don't get it. But yeah, that was pretty neat.
For being a super user of the Force, it was kind of interesting that he had a cane, right?
Yeah. Someone paused it. I actually saw it on TikTok today. They paused the what was it? The episode 3. And apparently there's a delegation that looks like it's E.T. That's looking guys. I never noticed that. So that's interesting. And I
must have lost a bet to Spielberg or something.
Well, that's pretty funny that they did that. And there's apparently I guess in Liar Liar, in one of the shots, Jim Carrey is actually in the background being Fire Marshal Bill. So I don't know what scene it's from, but that was pretty amazing.
I like those little things in the background that
Easter egg,
just little Easter eggs that you wouldn't even notice unless somebody really told you. Like somebody's really paying attention to find that.
Mm. So what do you think's the difference? I mean, Spielberg and Lucas are, they're good buddies. What's the difference between a guy like Spielberg and Lucas? Like, why can Spielberg deliver the whole package and
probably training their skill more, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, obviously George Lucas, that wasn't his only movie. Star Wars wasn't his only movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
I mean, Indiana Jones was good. I think Star Wars was his, clearly his baby, probably more than Indiana Jones. He was way more involved, it seems like, in Star Wars than. And I mean, and I guess he was a good director in that sense that, Lucas did know what was going on, with everything.
Yeah.
So, I
don't know. It seems like Spielberg just has kind of a natural skill for keeping up with the story.
Yeah.
And I think maybe George Lucas, once Star Wars hit, he had his hand in a lot of different stuff. Like Skywalker Sound and stuff like that. He wasn't just doing movies. He was doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And I think once Star Wars became so successful, he didn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, I guess you don't really have to try, but it's like, well, Indiana Jones happened to be big, so
yeah,
ride this out. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is awful. Not a good one. We didn't need that one. And it's so funny because if you think about directors, some really great directors directed the 3 new Star Wars, but and if you think about them, whether you think the story was bad or not, those were amazing movies. I mean, it took Star Wars to the next level. The acting was good, the saber fights were awesome, and things like that. It was really cool. But people were complaining about them. George Lucas did better, and I'm like, come on, the original director wasn't that great either, I guess people, whether it's you want to complain about anything or I don't know, but it's I don't. To me, it's why are you complaining about a movie that they did it really well?
Yeah.
I mean, I liked the new series. I enjoyed it. I'm glad to be done with all the Skywalker stuff, but I still thought it was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I maybe it was just that it took too long to get to the end of the series, but
probably
it just kind of felt like a big letdown at the end. It seemed like they had 3 movies to clean up everything, and they still didn't clean up everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, but if I think about it, okay, if I'm just going for lightsaber fights and action, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was really, really good. So there was some good directing in that, and then also you have the same characters. There were same characters in this one that were in the older ones, and their acting is better.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's just it's a step up. Not saying that there's not importance in the original trilogy. I'm wondering when are they going to go back and redo the original? Reinvent Star Wars completely. And
I don't think there's any reason to do that, and I don't think Disney has any interest in doing that.
Well,
I think Disney
not yet.
What?
But not yet. So
I think Disney wants to move past the Skywalker series so that they can get into more stories that have nothing to do with it, and so they can build their own brand of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And again, it's just like the original Star Wars series. They just want to do merchandising crazy because it's a really popular brand. Probably one of the most popular brands in the world.
Yeah.
Because if you go probably to any country and just say Star Wars, everybody knows who it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Lucas, clearly he was a visionary, and I mean, all this came out of his head, so that's pretty awesome. So definitely want to give him credit. But I still don't get why couldn't you just hire an acting coach to like, be alongside you, so you could do what you're doing, and you don't have to
Money.
do the acting part. Because he's got, constantly has actors like asking, "Hey, was that okay?" And he's like, "All right, let's do it again," or whatever. I don't know. So maybe, and that maybe that's a control thing. Like he wanted to control every aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one issue with directors. I think is that if they don't know when to give up control and that's the whole point of being the manager of everything, is you have to know when to delegate tasks to other people. And if you want to control everything and you want to handle every aspect of the business, then it's going to be very hard.
Yeah. What if you work with a bunch of people that aren't as smart as you? What are you supposed to do? Delegate to them?
When the thing about George Lucas that I see is maybe the issue is that like he may be a great writer and he has good ideas, but that doesn't mean he can direct those ideas onto the screen. Like that just because you're like, it seems like everybody now has to be all these different things all at once, actor, singer, rapper, business owner. They have to have their clothing line and be their retail manager. Yeah. So it's like everybody's trying to be a superstar instead of just being a star.
Yeah.
So, and I think that maybe one issue with Lucas is that he wasn't a great director. He was an okay, he could do it, but I think he was much better at other things instead of directing.
So that brings up the question, like, are you a bad actor if you can't act even without a director? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you should have been able to act in spite of direction, if that makes sense. Like, do you think that's on the actor?
Honestly, I think it's every piece working together, because I think the importance of having all the pieces separated, like, so you have the lighting guy, you have the sound guy, you have having all those separated is a really good thing. So I think that an actor needs direction to be able, because if you're an actor and you're trying to keep the whole movie in your head instead of what that scene is, what's happening in that scene, I think it gets really confusing. And people who direct and act in their own movie, it just blows my mind. Like being able to keep all that stuff in your head.
That's probably, though, I would feel like things would come together more for me if I did both, not that I do, but like, you'd be able to explain
what happens if you're working with people who aren't as smart as you? You just don't get tasks to them.
Exactly. But yeah, I think like probably being an actor, because you can like kind of guide actors with your acting, like, hey, here's what I'm doing with this vision. Like there would be more of an emphasis as a director / actor to actually like translate what you're trying to do, rather than just like sitting behind a camera doing it. I don't know. But so I asked that question because I look at like, The Walking Dead, dude that plays Negan, I don't know what his name is. Probably should have researched that more because I knew I was going to bring this up. But, one of the things he said in an interview was...
He's one of those 3-name people, isn't he?
What?
One of those people with 3 names?
Probably.
Like Neil Patrick Harris or that kind of thing.
I did, like, he said, they were like, oh, were you pumped to play the role of Negan? Like, how did they kind of guide you to do that? And he was like, to be honest, they didn't. I came up with an idea of like, after, reading comics and stuff, like of who Negan was and like how I was going to play him. And he's like, and no one's told me that I'm doing poorly. So he's like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So that, that's kind of a guy that's like, obviously Walking Dead has some pretty awesome direction. But still, that's kind of one of those examples. And I'm like, there are a ton of actors that like, they just kind of coin a role and figure it out. Like Jim Carrey doesn't have to be told,
Well, I think I think you get to a point in, like, say for instance, like I'll go on Jim Carrey. I feel like he mostly does comedy genre films, and he kind of plays a similar character in each one. And so once you kind of get the idea of playing a character,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to play the next one and the next one and the next one if you're playing a similar role, which
Yeah.
is, I guess, why people get typecast a lot.
I think Adam Sandler's done that more. I think yeah.
Adam
Yeah,
Sandler.
I mean, if you look at, like, we talked about this last time, but he's just an angry guy in all of his movies. And then I look at Jim Carrey, and like one of my favorite movies, probably my favorite of his, was Man on the Moon. Was really awesome.
Yeah.
It showed how talented he was. But then, like, even watching like behind the scenes of how he gets into his characters and stuff, like nobody told him to do that. Like, he totally harnessed this power of Andy Kaufman, and
Yeah, did you watch that documentary where he was just a jerk to everybody?
Yeah. It was. I mean, he was just Andy Kaufman. Like, he got the character. So, I guess, like, if you get actors that are in that role,
that must be really weird to hang out with an actor that does that. What do you call it? What do you call it when you become the role?
Oh gosh, I was just gonna say it, but they're a character actor, right? I think that's like they're a character actor because they get into their role and they stay in the role the whole movie. Like,
yeah, and it's like, yeah, even on their off time, they're still.
Yeah. They're still.
I can't imagine hanging out with somebody who, especially somebody like, for instance, when The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you hang out with somebody who's playing the Joker who doesn't come out of that character?
Yeah. But man, he was good. Heath Ledger nailed it.
Yeah, but I can't even imagine. I mean, how do you? I just don't understand how you put yourself in that position and then get out of that.
Yeah.
I
mean, it seemed like, for Carrey and guys, like, it was really difficult to do it. I mean, it took him months to get out of that, which is so crazy to me. I'm like, oh, really? It took you months to get out of a character? Like, just start acting normal. But I guess if you're a good actor, you like convince yourself you're that person.
Just be normal.
I'd have a hard time acting with somebody like that. I'd be like, whoa, like, little intense. Let's turn it off. Like, I can't be around you right now. I don't know, but I guess that's what makes movies good. But I mean, it shows again that, like, you could possibly have bad directing and awesome acting.
Oh, I think the thing about movies is that you can have one piece that's bad,
Mhm.
and the rest of it, like, you can have a terrible script, but great acting. So you can see, like, what is going on with this script? Everything's all over the place, and there's so many plot holes I can't even count them. But the acting is great.
Yeah.
I can't think of an example right this second, but
it's funny. I loved. I was talking to my brother about this. I loved Aquaman. I thought it was really awesome. I mean, especially from, like, a comic book character that's, like, so lame. They made him really cool.
They made him a lot cooler in the movie.
Yeah, they made him a beast, and like, he's like the coolest one in the Justice League. But my brother was like, actually, that movie was horrible, but Jason Momoa was awesome, so it evened out. And I was like, I don't know if I agree with that, but I guess I could see how people think that.
I mean, I kind of thought similar. It was okay. I thought they made Aquaman a lot cooler than in the comics. Because in the comics, he's like, "Come on, seahorses, let's go attack!"
Yeah.
But it's like a dorky.
Man, there's nothing he could do. So.
Yeah, like but they kind of made him.
So it was just a waste of time.
Yeah, but I think that's probably true. Is that having Jason Momoa be Aquaman made him a lot cooler? Because I think Aquaman in the comics was like a blonde white dude.
Yeah,
kind of didn't make any sense.
Yeah, some burly guy that looks like he's a crab fisherman.
Yeah, and Jason Momoa, he's like, he's a I guess he's a Pacific Islander descent.
Mhm.
And so, he looks more like the part somebody who would be
Yeah.
Aquaman. I feel like he looks more like somebody who could be Aquaman, but
Had long hair though. I don't know if I'd want to have long hair underwater, but I guess it would like flow behind you. But when you get up, it's all like stuck to your face. I wish they'd been more realistic about that.
he's like,
Let's get out.
comes out of the water. He's like,
I can't hear.
yeah, he's like whacking the side of his head trying to get water out. He
Yeah.
must get a lot of ear infections.
What, Aquaman? Yeah, maybe. Unless he's like immune
The
to that.
salt. I mean, I guess the salt maybe would clear his.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Probably have to do those like what are those neti pots or whatever.
Yeah, but how do you do that underwater?
I don't know. I mean, how are they doing half the stuff they were doing underwater? I'm sure they could figure that out. So
Magic neti pots.
yeah, exactly. They found like how to have air underwater. So
That's a
Yeah.
good point. Touche.
giant crab. So, but yeah, so I mean, like obviously it's happened. I mean, we talked, I think last time about like actors like Samuel L. Jackson who really have no range at all. He's a really cool actor, and all the movies he's in are pretty awesome. But him being a bad actor in Star Wars, it wasn't a shocker because it was like, hey man, you can't cuss in this one. I don't know what to do then. Like, what?
Oh
what
man, this movie's gonna be bad.
Yeah. So he just acted like really dry. But I mean, you could go back to the sequels and say that or the prequels, and say that there was some good stuff. Like Ewan McGregor was okay. What's his face? Qui-Gon was all right.
Oh yeah. Qui-Gon Jinn.
So I mean, there's some of them were cool. That fish dude, the Fish King.
Was it fish?
Yeah,
I gotta
that
go
guy was
back
like, all the time. I don't know if that was in his credits in the movie.
Is that it's a trap? That guy?
No, that's Akbar. No, he was.
Admiral Akbar? He looks like a fish, right?
Yeah, he totally looks like a fish.
I
Probably
thought
more.
that's who
This
you
is
were
the guy
talking
with like the big bottle thing. Maybe he looked more like a frog. He was like underwater in the first one.
It just has an
they kicked him out.
incredibly large jowls.
Yes. Well, that was fun to talk about. That's all I remember.
Well, what about people like M. Night?
Shabama Mamelon.
Yeah.
Name a movie he's done.
Lady in the Water.
Didn't see it.
Signs.
Did it out? Was she just?
Yeah,
swimming?
Lady in the Water was in like 2006.
I mean, was she just swimming?
I honestly don't remember the plot to that movie because
that title, like, you just like
it's very
if you
forgettable.
It was a horror film. Like if you just read movie title, we should totally talk about that at some point. Like if you just read movie titles, we're gonna do that.
What's that? What is this movie about?
Yeah, we're gonna add another series to this, and then just try to guess or another episode to this, and then just try to guess what movies are.
Okay, so M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
He did like The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that one didn't hold up well.
It was good at the time. I mean,
It was amazing. My brother took me to that. Like he had moved out of the house and he came and picked me up one day. And it was a really cool day. And I was like totally blown away. Like he was looking right at me because he'd already seen it.
Yeah.
The end.
The reveal at the end is...
The reveal is that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry. I'm not, you weren't going to see it. What was that, the 90s?
1999.
Yeah, I watched a movie with the kid that was in The Sixth Sense in it recently. It was called Walrus. Don't watch it. It was horrible. But he was like in his 40s now. So honestly, you should have seen it. So they're bad.